How's it? My name is Dylan, this is Ply Creations, and a very warm welcome on a chilly autumn morning here in my workshop. Today I'll be building my first IC project with you guys. What is an IC project? I'll tell you in a minute. So what is an IC project anyway? Well, IC in my case stands for internal customer. In my case, that would be my wife, and I'm relatively sure that if you are involved in making anything in your house, you have your fair share of IC customers as well. Today I'll be heading out to the lathe. I'm making a pot for my wife. Not exactly sure what I should call it. Maybe you can help me in the comment section. It's either a pot, because it looks very much, well, hopefully when I'm done it will look somewhat like a flower pot, or we can call it a vase, but I don't think it's fancier enough for one to be called a vase. And last option is a hollow form, which I think is technically a little bit more correct, but for simplicity's sake at the moment I'll be calling it a pot. Let me know what you think. So why does my wife need a wooden pot in the first place? We like cooking, and we've got quite a few utensils in the kitchen, and we just like to have somewhere where we can put them close to our stove, and all the utensils will be standing upright in the wooden pot. At the lathe you'll see I've got the blank mounted. It's turning freely. I'm not sure what wood this is. It's either not gelatong. It's either jacaranda or Australian blackwood. I'm not sure. I'm also not sure about the grain direction. If you see here, there's quite a few dark marks, and I can see end grain here. As a result, I'll probably not be using, at least as a start, not my spindle roughing gouge, but rather my bowl gouge to clean up the blank and get it round before we start working towards getting the blank into a chuck and hollowing it out. I've got it mounted between centers. I've got quite a beefy spur drive on the headset side with the headstock side, and then I've got, of course, my tailstock in place. I've checked it turns freely. I've positioned my tool rest where I want it, so I'll be proceeding with my bowl gouge to rough out the blank and then work towards putting a tenon onto it, and we'll cover that as we put it into the chuck. So be roughing out the blank first. Seems like I'm in for an interesting morning, but I am getting quite a significant amount of tear out, so we'll see how it goes. I'll finish rounding this off. So I have the blank roughly rounded. You'll notice on the other camera I'm seeing a bit of end grain in the blank, so this is in effect not spindle turning in the strictest sense of the word. So we're about to do the tenon. I'll be using this chuck, nice big one with my biggest jaws that I have available to me. I've measured the inside of the jaws, or at least how deep I would like to have the tenon, and then with the sets of calipers I've checked what the diameter will be for the tenon that I need. I'll bring you over to the other camera. I'll quickly mark out the depth. It's going to be about 10 millimeters, and with the calipers I'll then measure the size. You may notice that the surface on the inside is a little bit more pristine than last time I left you, and that's because I turned the tenon too small. Now I need to make a new one. No mistakes in wood turning, just design changes. So let's cut a new tenon. done with the tenon. Very important that this shoulder that I'm showing you now, where the bottom of the blank meets the tenon, is clean, because that contributes quite significantly to how secure or how securely the chuck will be gripping the tenon. Stifling a cough. This piece of wood is really dry and very turns very dusty. Coming back to the species, I'm more inclined that it may very well be jacaranda, or it could even be a local species called white stinkwood. But I think it's going to come out nice. That is, if we manage to eventually finish the project. So I'll fit it into the chuck, see that it fits, and next time you'll see me is with the chuck mounted and the blank installed. I'm working on a video where I'd like to show you in a little bit more detail how a chuck and the jaws on a chuck work, and the different jaws that you get, and what you need to consider to be able to securely chuck your workpiece into or onto the lathe. So it is secure. I have tail support on the blank. I will be shaping the outside of the blank first and get the correct shape, or the shape that I'd like, and clean up the outside surface. I'll probably go as far as sanding that surface and almost getting it to finishing state. So shaping the outside, I wanted to taper from the top down as a flower pot, but I'm not going to make that angle too steep. So we've got the basic shape of the pot, or the hollow form, in place. The bowl gouge didn't leave a great finish, and this is where my new tool comes into play. You may recognize it from a previous video, or the previous video on my channel, where I converted a standard scraper to a negative rake scraper. If you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing to my channel, and that will just make it easier to follow along with what I do here. Often my videos will follow on one on another, but I'll leave the link in the description so you can go and have a look at that one. On the other camera you'll see this guy in action, and it left a really nice finish. It also allowed me to finalize the shape of the pot. Next step is I'll be working through the grits. I'd like to sand this surface and get it to a finished surface before I continue to hollow out the pot. So I'll be working through the grits, and I'll be showing you on the other camera how I go about doing that. I'm not going to bore you with it, and it's likely going to be a time lapse. We've got the outside of the pot sanded to final finish, and now we need to hollow out the hollow form. I'm going to be removing the bulk of the waste using a Forstner bit in a Jacob's chuck. I'll likely go over to the bowl gouge and then finish off with a negative rake scrape on the inside, just to even out the surface. How deep I'll be going is I'll monitor it as I drill. I want to leave some material in the bottom, so I want to leave the bottom area relatively thick, because we will be putting utensils into the pot. The thicker it is at the bottom, the more stability I'll have, and the less prone it will be to topple over. At least I hope that would be the case. After we've hollowed out the form, I'm going to fix up the rim, shape the rim, sand that down while I still have it in the chuck. After that, we'll swing it around in the chuck. Well, hold it in a different way, and I'll show you when we get there. And then do the foot, remove the foot, finish that off, sand that off, and then we apply the finish. So next step is to hollow it out. and the hollow form is hollow, and I used these to get there. I'm quickly going to show you what worked and what didn't. First of all, what didn't work. Started off with my bowl gouge. It's quite short, so I didn't have the length to get down into the bottom of the pot. Also, the angle at which it's ground didn't really allow me to get in on the sides and at the bottom, so I quickly realized this isn't going to work. I then moved on to the Simon Hope hollowing tool. Not necessarily ideal for the grain directions that I've used it on. It did work up to a point, and I removed quite a lot of material with it, but I did get a lot of feedback and chatter on this tool. What did work though are these two. Surprisingly, didn't think about it immediately. These are my carbide turning tools. I do have carbide tools for some uses, and between the round cutting bit and the square cutting bit, they worked really, really well at removing a lot of material quickly. So these worked very well. Did cause a lot of dust. Was great fun though. This tool came in very useful again, and the negative rake scraper was able to really clean up the undulations that were caused by the carbide tools, as well as clean up really well any tear out that those tools caused. So this one again came to the party, and it's fast becoming one of my favorite tools. Let me tell you more about the finish. I'll be using a product produced by a local manufacturer. It works really well as a friction polish. I'll run up the pot and start applying the finish while I still have it in the chuck and can generate some heat to aid the penetration into the workpiece. So I'll see you at the lathe. I love this stuff. Workshop smells great, and as you can see on the other camera, it's really got a nice finish on it. What I'll be doing now is I'll turn the pot around so that I can work on the foot. I will be using a chuck called a Longworth chuck. I got it specifically for different sizes of bowls, and I haven't had much of an opportunity to use it. You can expand the chuck that we have on now, well, that's gripping the foot now, into the hollow section, but I think it might damage the inside. Another option, of course, is to use a jam chuck, but I'd like to try the Longworth chuck and see if I can get away with it. I will be using tail support while removing the foot, so I'll change everything around and bring you back and show you what it looks like. So I've got the pots in the Longworth chuck, and I'll be removing the foot. One of the final steps, I'll be using my spindle gouge to get rid of the foot. It is quite large. Be very careful at this point that you take small cuts to remove the excess material. We're not as securely chucked as we would be in the 4-jaw chuck, so things can happen. Be careful, light cuts. So the tenon is gone. I'm focusing on a few things. One is I'm trying to make finishing cuts to get as nice a finish on the bottom as I possibly can. Second is I'm hollowing towards the middle of the base. That gives me a rim around the bottom so that when it stands on a table it sits flush. I'm also very attentive of where I start these final cuts, because it's very easy with a tool like this to run back from the edge across your finished surface, and that's happened a few times with me, so I'm very, very careful that I start my cuts in the correct place and that I don't risk running back. I'm taking you back to the other camera and finishing off. Of course, you can finish your cuts as close to your tail support as you dare. We are going to be getting rid of that final nib at the end. So I'll see you back at the lathe. And that is it for this edition of Ply Creations. Internal customer project number 1, done and dusted. Not so much dusted, still got quite a bit of cleaning ahead of me before I can finish off for the day. And yes, it does include brushing out Rocky again. As always, it was so nice to have you with me. Remember, you can still download the build plans for the Universal Mobile Base. Don't know what that is? Consider subscribing and you'll know when my videos land. Sign up on the link that I'm leaving in the description and you can get your hands on a free set of plans. I'm also leaving the link to that video. As I'm finishing off, I'm showing you a photo of this one in action and in use. As always, thank you so much for joining me. Be safe in your workshop. Give me my Tenon, and I have a helicopter flying around. It came over my house and I think it's looking for someone.